Hi, it's Hope and welcome to the video. As you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, this is going to be my July TBR. Now this is going to be a tiny bit different because I am a co-host of the Crave-a-thon, which is a month-long readathon that is happening in July. I will leave the announcement video in the description. But basically this is kind of you go around the board and you land on the squares and you read books that are within that color's like prompt list. So I'm not really doing an like official TBR. I'm kind of mood reading as I go within these roles. You'll kind of see me do them throughout the month within my reading vlogs, kind of like how Becca from Becca in the Books sometimes does her Bookopoly, where it'll be like she'll roll through the month type thing, but it'll be kind of like that, but it is a readathon that is based on the Crave-a-thon. So the six colors represent parts of the Crave series. So black is demigod and god. I'll pull up the board here. Blue is werewolf. Gold/yellow is dragon. Green is gargoyle. Purple is witch, and red is vampire. And so what we're gonna do is we are going to, as I'm filming this, do my first roll and pick a book to be the first book that I'm going to read in July. And then also I will mention, I think I have like 5 or 6 books that I know I want to read in July that I will find a way to read and shove into prompts as I can. And so yeah, this is kind of going to be short, but going into July, I'm not really setting a TBR. Like obviously I have my like 23 books I want to read in 2023 that's also kind of like a rough TBR, as well as my these books will self-destruct. I haven't actually read any of those, as well as just like when in doubt, I always have books I want to read. So yeah, so I have a little like thing from Fairy Loot that I got over a year ago, and a little dice, and we are going to roll together, and then I will pop up the board, or the board is already up, I don't know, editing me will do this, and then we will count, and then we'll pick a color, and then we'll go through the prompts and we'll pick what prompt I want to do. So okay, well that just rolled right off, so that is, as you can see, a 3. So 1 2 3 3 brings us to the dragon. So let me pull up the dragon prompts. Okay, so the prompts for the Dragon Court are pick a book with a gemstone on the front cover or in the title. Find a book that is red or has scales on the front cover. There's a self-care prompt, which I'm gonna pick a book actually. A book with a dragon on the cover. A book with the word fire on the cover, fire, flame, ember, smoke, ashes. Or read a book with a golden cover or gold on the cover. Okay. As I said, we're literally figuring this out as we go. Which one I have books on my shelf, obviously, so I'm like looking around and being like, what do I want to read? I honestly don't know. I mean, I could do gemstone. Jesus Christ, I don't need that. Technically a gemstone, there's Fable that has a gemstone, or what kind of looks like a gemstone on the spine. I could do that. Do I want to read that though? That is the question. I don't think I have any books that have a dragon on the cover, and I do know what I'm reading for that, so I could buy it. And that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Is that how her last name is pronounced? I'm not sure. Do I want to start a series though? It is only a duology, and I do need to read it. Screw it, let's go with Fable. I don't know, it's like the only thing on my shelf that I'm like, I kind of want to read. Oh, no. Ooh. Or Ignite Me, you ignite a fire. Like, I don't think I'd have any other, like, any contemporaries that would work. I don't think I have any sci-fis even. yeah. Which one of these do I want to read more, though? You know what? I think I will go with Fable. It has the gemstone on there, so that is for the prompt. For the first prompt is pick a book with gemstones on the front cover or in the title. I'm counting the spine. It's my readathon, my rules. So I'm counting that. And yeah, so we're gonna do that. I honestly didn't think I'd be reading this month, but I guess we are. So that is one book. And then we'll just go with the 2 other physical books that I want to read this month, and then we'll go into a couple of the ebooks that I want to read this month. And so the first is Tender is the Flesh by Augustina Bazterka. I'm butchering that. I honestly don't know anything about this. All I know is cannibals. I have heard great things about this, and I finally was able to get a copy from my library, I think the beginning of June, and my hold for this does go out, like, my hold for this is up, I think on July 21st or 22nd, something like that. And so I probably should read it in July, because I checked, because I put a hold on this from my library in January. It took 6 months for me to get it, so I should probably read it. And then the other physical book I want to read is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. This basically, we follow Delilah Green, who has to travel back to her hometown, I believe it is, to be a photographer at her annoying stepsister's wedding. And while she is there, she reunites with Claire, who is one of her stepsister's friends, and like they knew each other when they were younger a little bit. And Claire runs her own bookstore and is a single mom, and the 2 of them eventually somehow form a relationship. That's all I know. I know that my friend Clint loves this book, and it was originally on my June TBR. I didn't get to it, so I'm carrying it over into July because I really want to read it. And yeah. And there are 5 other books that I want to read this month. So the first one is The New Guy by Serena Bowen, and this is the first book in a hockey romance series. And this is also the July's group book for Book Addicts Anonymous, which is a book club that I have started with Clint from Reads Readers. The New Guy is actually the first book we are going to be doing for Book Addicts Anonymous, and so I'm so excited. Basically, The New Guy, we are basically following Hudson Newgate, and he has been traded around through many teams over the last few years, and he's kind of struggling with his playing ability, and so this is kind of his last chance to stay pro, pretty much. And then he meets an athletic trainer, I'm brain farting on the name, who lives in his building that also has a job opportunity with the team. And so it's the 2 of them having to try to figure out a dynamic and a relationship that involves their work, but also the fact that the love interest is a single dad. And that's pretty much all I know. I have been dying to read this since it came out, and I'm so excited that I'm finally going to be reading it. The next book is Kill Switch by Penelope Douglas, which is one of my favorite books of all time, I swear. Kill Switch is the 3rd book in the Devil's Night series, which is a series of basically each book you are following one guy in this friend group and their respective love interests. And so this is Damon and Winter's book, and that's pretty much all I'm going to say. I love this series, and I'm doing my reread of it. And so Kill Switch is the next book, and I love it so much, and so I'm so excited to be reading it. The next book is A Soul of Ash and Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is the 5th book in the Blood and Ash series. And this basically is kind of a retelling of the first couple of books from Cassiel's point of view, so the love interest's point of view, and it is basically his book but retelling the events of the first 3 from his point of view, and I'm excited for this. I have it pre-ordered. It comes out July 18th, and so I probably won't get my copy until the 20-something, but I will be trying to read it in July because I'm so excited for it. I want to read it so badly, so I'm putting it on this TBR. Like, even if I can just start it in July, I'll be happy, but like finish it in August, I'd be fine with that. The next book is Shut Out by Avery Heelan, which is the second book in the Offside series. I don't actually know what the series is called, but the first book in this is Offside, and it's basically a hockey romance, and these are like a series of standalones. And so this basically, we are following a girl who ends up having to, like in the middle of her sophomore year, I believe, ends up having to move in with her brother and his two roommates, and her brother and his two roommates are like college hockey players, and one of the guys that is like her brother's roommate is actually the guy that our main female character had a one-night stand with on Halloween. And that's pretty much all I know. I loved Offside. I read it earlier this month, and so I will be reading this in July because it comes out July 1st. And the final book that I will be reading, or at least trying to read, is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I've heard such good things about it, and so I'm finally biting the bullet and reading it. I will be buying a copy of it, so ultimately this does depend on if it arrives in July. Like, I will be buying this through Indigo, so it looks like it is like as soon as you purchase it, it will ship. But I unfortunately can't buy it until I get paid on. And I don't know anything about this except I believe it's fantasy, romance, and dragons. That's all I know. That's literally all I know. That's all I want to know. I'm never reading the description of this. I'm going in completely blind. But I know that like the love interest is morally gray, and so I'm like, sign me the fuck up. And so yeah, that is my TBR. It was definitely short and simple, and again, I'm just kind of going to be mood reading. Like, I can look at my shelves and see like 10 different books I want to read, but knowing me, the second I put them on a TBR, I'm not reading them. When in doubt, recently I'm like, if it's on my TBR, I will not be reading it. So fingers crossed that I can get at least some of these read. But if you've made it this far, let me know what is one book that you will be reading in July, or if you've read any of these. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps my channel grow, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!